All right, Shalom. Giving all praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the priest is Iwan from GMS Atlanta. Back with another edifying video. More news and prophecy. And the tension around the world between the citizens of these different countries and their governments is it's constantly increasing. Now, I did a video going into this year, coming into this year about how there would be an increase, or there has been an increase in different riots and protests around the world, and that's ringing true. I'm definitely noticing and doing a lot more articles and doing a lot more videos on articles that are showcasing different riots and different protests and cases of civil unrest in different countries. And it just goes to show that we here at GMS, Great Millstone, the Israelites, we've been right. When it comes to the Bible and what's been going on, because where are the pastors? Where are the preachers? Where's Vocab Malone? Here it is. They're supposed to be followers of who the word internet calls Jesus Christ, right? They claim they're Christians and they're followers of the scriptures, but when it comes to the prophecies, they're ignorant. They have no idea what's going on. If they don't speak on it, they don't pay no attention to it. They really don't mention the last days or read certain prophetic scriptures. Now some Christians do. Some Christians here down south, they know about the micro C-hip, the implant, which is the MOTB. But when it comes down to the events that are leading up to the end of this world and the coming of the Son of the Most High, these Christians don't know, right? Now, we Israelites, we know, and the main group that pushes these prophecies is GMS, right? And of course our affiliates, but they're in the spirit, they're all a part of GMS, which GMS was set up by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai to push these prophecies. So now this here is from it's from MSN, but it's from Asian News International, and it says Bangladesh sees riots against brutalities in Gaza. So, based upon what's happening over there in Gaza, and this war between Israel and Hamas, and you got these Houthi rebels being involved and being backed by Iran. You got these different protests that are erupting around the world based upon what's going on in this war. And that just shows you how much people are paying attention to what's going on. Okay? Not here in America. Here in America, they're too busy worried about whether or not they'll still be able to order items off of Temu and Amazon, Meanwhile, things are heating up around the world. Now, it says here, protests erupted across Bangladesh, which is right next to India, by the way. Same people, different country. But I believe Bangladesh broke away from India back in its history. And those people over there, although you do have Israelites scattered among those people are Elam, all right? The Elamites with an L, okay? They're the brother to Arphaxad. When you read Genesis, the 10th chapter, Shem had a son. He had multiple sons. He had Elam, and he had Arphaxad. So the Elamites, the East Indians, they're Shemitic. Matter of fact, let me get that. They are Shemitic but they're not Hebrews, all right? The line of the Hebrews comes from the line of Arphaxad, which is the brother of Elam. So let me just go to the point. So when you go to Genesis, the 10th chapter, it mentions about, right, the sons of Shem. So it says, Genesis 10 and 21, unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, which are the Hebrews, right? The Hebrews are descendant for a man named Eber, which his name is Ibar, the brother of Japhet, the elder. Even to him were children born. The children of Shem, Elam, which this is where you get your East Indians, the people of Pakistan, like the article mentioned, Bangladesh, Iran. Those people are the sons of Elam, all right, their descendants. It says, and Ashur, Syrians, Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram, which are Syrians. The line of Arphaxad, the line of Arphaxad, that line is where you get the sons of Israel, all right, or the Hebrew, the 5 Hebrew nations. Okay, so it's not just about being Shem, Semitic, Shem, but you have to be a Hebrew. And among the Hebrews, you got to be descendant from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You have to be Israelites. And then amongst the Israelites, you got to be the elect to be delivered. So there's a very big separation that the Heavenly Father has made throughout history and when you read the Bible. Okay? But there you go, right? So that history, the sons of Elam are Iran or Persia, the Persians, people of Bangladesh, the people of India, okay, and Pakistan, okay? So let's go back to the article, okay? And you can do more history on that, okay? So they're protesting in Bangladesh, and it says various political, social, cultural, religious, and professional organizations protested on the streets of Dhaka. Organizers say they are holding the demonstration as part of a global campaign to protest the brutal attacks on Palestinians in Gaza. Students have boycotted the classes and exams to participate in protests. So a lot of these protests are happening on college campuses around the world. Some were even here in the U.S. as well. But as the prophecies in the scriptures say, that there's going to be upwards of the people. Officials and professionals have observed strikes. The organizers have urged the people to boycott Israeli goods. We support humanity first of all. The things that Israel has been doing to Palestine to remove their identity from the world are brutally bad. As a human, if I don't support Palestine right now, my humanity will be lost, said a student who joined the protest at Dhaka University. And see, these people are looking down upon you Edomites. All right? They're looking down upon Israel. They're looking down upon America. Hell, the Western world as a whole, they're looking down on. But especially you people over there in the state of Israel. All right? And which is going to be part of the reason why missiles are launched to that land of Palestine to destroy it fully, completely, but that land will be rebuilt. All right, and in the same token, the land of America, the U.S., will be destroyed by missiles as well, but that land, or this land here in America, will never be built. All right, the U.S. will be destroyed forever. And the true sons of Israel, women and children, the chosen elect, and eventually the whole nation, so-called black Spaniards and Native Americans and those scattered around the world will be, and those descended from Israel scattered around the world, they will once again rule in their kingdom, which will be the one kingdom on the planet Earth, and the headquarters or the capital would be Jerusalem, pursuant to Isaiah the 2nd chapter. So they're protesting about what's going on. It says protesters carried Palestinian flags and displayed placards expressing solidarity with the people of Palestine. They also burnt an effigy of Netanyahu. Yeah, so they really are looking narrowly upon Edom. The U.S. has been criticized over Trump's proposal to forcibly relocate Palestinians to make way for the redevelopment of Gaza. Yeah, because Trump wants to turn it into a resort, bum the hell out of it and turn it into a beach resort, because he's thinking about himself, the rich, and all the money he can make from the tourists that go there. It's all a part of Esau's agenda. It says Arab nations have decried the plan, and rights groups have called it ethnic cleansing. Which the world's waking up to you devils. Protesters also condemned U.S. crackdowns on pro-Palestinian activism on university campuses, as reported by Al Jazeera. I'll jump down. The overall number of casualties since October 7, 2023 now stands at over 50,000 killed and over 1 million injured. Right, well, it looks like they mistyped here. All right, Al Jazeera reported. But this is all prophecy. Okay, all of this has to do with signs of the return of Yahweh Shai and the end of this wicked world that we live in. Okay, of this wicked kingdom. Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21. And let me get this in the AMP version. This is my go-to version for this particular chapter. Luke chapter 21 and 9. It says, when you hear of wars and disturbances, what's a disturbance? A protest. When you protest something, like for example, it said that they were boycotting going to class at Dhaka University in Bangladesh, right? Those students. That's a disturbance to the school and its operations, right? Because of what? Because of the protests. So when you hear wars and disturbances, civil unrest, right? Revolts, uprisings, right? Protests, all this pretty much the same thing. You got sedition, where it gets a little bit more violent and they really start to fight. It says, do not panic, for these things must take place first, but the end will not come immediately. And when you look this up in the words of Red, all of these are the words of Yahweh Shai himself. Okay? So we're in the time when these protests will happen. Okay? So you know what? I'm going to close it here. I made the point. Just another group of protesters around the world protesting pretty much what Esau's doing, Edom. Right? You know what? Let me do this. Let me go to the book of Obadiah. And let me just read this precept. Because the whole world is waking up to you devils. Okay, well, I guess I'll read this in the AMP. Let's see what it says. Let's see what the AMP version says. Obadiah 1:1. Right, the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning Edom, which are so-called white people, so-called Caucasians. Or I should say the so-called Caucasian or so-called white people are Edomites, which you also have so-called white people, which are also Israelites. All right, because we've all been mixed up together. But that outer shell, that outer look that so-called white Caucasian look, those are Edomites. All right, it's just, because you are what your father is. Okay. It says, we have heard a report from the Lord, and an ambassador has been sent among the nations, saying, arise and let us rise up against Edom for battle with the Lord as commander. And that's eventually that's starting to happen. All of these nations are rising up against Edom. You see what's going on with these tariffs back and forth between China and the U.S., which is what? An Edomite. Hell, the headquarters of Edom is here in America. But then you also got Europe and you got the state of Israel, right? But they're eventually going to go to war with these other nations. It says, behold, Edom, I shall humiliate you and make you small among the nations. You are greatly despised. And that is what we're seeing. We're seeing these different nations right here in Bangladesh. They're despising what is being done in Palestine based upon what the Israelis are doing in this war. So they're protesting. So we're definitely coming to the end of this wicked kingdom. And soon Yahweh Shai will return to deliver his elect, and the Israelites will rule again. With that, our praises goes to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Kakudash, Shalom.